This channel's become one that people come to learn more about controversy, specifically at this point in time, the Epstein files. So it's my duty to always try and dive deeper into the topic and find more people that are associated. We've already spoken about people like Mel Gibson, Roseanne Barr, and more, but today we're taking a deeper look into some names that have not yet been mentioned. Let's dive in and learn some more.
Back in 2016, Elijah Wood did an interview with the Sunday Times that caught many by surprise. While we hear stories of shady producers and directors all the time, he didn't just say these were bad people in the business. He used a very specific word. He called them vipers. He warned us that there was an organized underbelly to Hollywood, that the people at the top were a part of a system that preys on the innocent and protects the monsters. He literally said, clearly something major was going on in Hollywood. It was all organized. Also comparing those in Hollywood to people like Jimmy Savile.
Elijah Wood's shocking allegations against the entertainment industry. In a new interview with the Sunday Times, the former child star alleges that has been a real issue in Hollywood. He tells the publication, quote, "There are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only have their own interests in mind." Well,
vipers is something that I haven't heard said yet, and also Elijah Wood is another new name, and something that we're seeing consistently here is more and more people come forward. This is becoming a trend, and now that the Epstein files are being released, I think it's going to get even bigger. We're going to see a massive onslaught of people sharing their experiences and opening up.
Bums me about these situations is that the victims can't speak as loudly as the people in power. That is the tragedy of attempting to reveal what is happening to innocent people. They can be squashed, but their lives have been irreparably damaged. The 35-year-old adds, "If you're innocent, you have very little knowledge of the world and you want to succeed. People with parasitic interests will see you as their prey." Goes on to allege that even as an adult in the industry, he has been, quote, "led down dark paths to realize that these things probably are still happening."
But look at what happened as soon as that interview dropped. Within days, the media machine went into overdrive. Suddenly, there were clarifications and retractions. They tried to make it seem like he was talking about the past or that he didn't have any first-hand information. They tried to bury the warning before it could wake people up. But if you look at the 2026 documents that came out, the names that have finally been exposed, Elijah Wood looks like he knows exactly what he's talking about. He looks like a man who was trying to tell us that the vipers aren't just a rumor. They are the ones running the show. Elijah was risking it all, warning us about the real monsters that operate in the shadows of Hollywood. Those who are after the vitality of the innocent, something that Hollywood seems to be obsessed with depicting in the very films they produce. Like we saw in My The Shining and the Black Phone movie breakdowns, both of these films showed this pursuit of the innocent. It's exactly what Elijah tried to warn us about. But just like the media always does, he was silenced and brushed off. As we saw from the recent 2026 files, Hollywood had a direct connection to the disgraced financier's operation. He had a direct link to the massive studio Miramax through the very face of the company. A monster who was convicted of unspeakable things to actors just trying to make it in the business. And he just so happens to be linked to a man who pursues the innocent for their vitality.
Yeah, a man that we've seen come up in literally every single video that we do. Harvey Weinstein is like the pinnacle of pred right here. The guy is just absolutely terrible and associated with a lot of the people who have been victimized, as well as people that are being the perpetrators.
This is a case of Hollywood telling on itself. Elijah wasn't deranged. He was blowing the whistle on a specific interconnected system, and he was immediately shut down. When you see how these elite circles overlap, you realize the vipers aren't just a metaphor. They are a network of monsters who use their studios and their finance operations as a hunting ground. Elijah tried to tell us, but the system did what it does best. It protected the monsters and silenced the witness.
And why is that? Again, it's because everyone that's involved is guilty, and they're trying to protect themselves as well as the entire network, because if the network is exposed, they're exposed.
Just like we saw with Corey Feldman. For decades, Corey has been treated like a punchline by the mainstream media. But when you actually listen to what he's been saying since the 90s, he looks less like a crazy former child star and more like the ultimate whistleblower. Corey didn't just hint at an underbelly. He told us that Hollywood is managed by an exclusive circle of gatekeepers who use the innocent as currency. He's the one who told us that these vipers that Elijah Wood mentioned aren't just bad people. They are a part of a structured protectionist system for the elite.
I can tell you that the #1 problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
The casting couch even applies to children.
Oh yeah. Not in the same way. It's all done under the radar.
Nobody talks about it.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh yeah. I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. Surrounded. Literally. Didn't even know it. It wasn't until I was old enough to realize what they were and what they wanted and what they were about and the types of people that were surrounding me until I went, oh my God, they were everywhere like vultures.
But look at the response he got. For years, he was blackballed. He was mocked on every late-night talk show. They used the classic Disturbed script to make sure no one would take these claims seriously. Even when he tried to release his own documentary to name the people involved, he faced mysterious technical glitches and massive pushback from the very platforms that are supposed to host independent voices. And we can't forget the physical risk he took. Back in 2018, Corey was literally attacked by a stranger in what he called an attempted hit to stop him from speaking out. This is a man who likely made himself a target for going against the code. When you look at the Soda Pop Club scandals and the recent 2026 files we talked about, it turns out Corey wasn't delusional. He was just decades ahead of the truth. He tried to warn us that the industry was controlled by a hidden network that pursues the innocent.
Now, if we think about this, if he were to come out today, if Mel Gibson were to come out today, if Roseanne Barr were to come out today and say these things, we would be looking at them as, thank you so much for the information. But because they came out so long ago, before the whole Epstein network has been fairly exposed, we looked at them as they were nuts and putting them at risk for their health, their well-being, their families, and definitely their careers.
Which is exactly what Lupe Fiasco tried to tell us, and he lost his career because of it. Lupe Fiasco is widely considered an underrated lyricist, but he might not be slept on because people don't like his music. It's because he was saying too much. The moment he started pointing out the music business danger, the power structure tried to shut him down. In his track, Words I Never Said, Lupe didn't hold back. He went straight for the topics the media is too afraid to touch, rapping about Building 7 and calling out the plans towards a centralized global power. It wasn't just about politics. Lupe was trying to wake the masses up to how the entertainment machine is used as a tool for social engineering. He's been very vocal about how major labels have a specific agenda to push content that promotes destructive behavior and dumb down culture. He claims there is a direct effort to suppress consciousness because an informed public is harder to manage.
Basically, when I started to see my music affecting people and people was really listening and kind of following me, they was choosing me as a role model, it's like I knew I had to switch up what I was saying. I knew what I was putting out there wasn't healthy. It was real, but it wasn't healthy. So I was like, you know what, I gotta show another face, I gotta put something out there a little bit more positive. Because the worst thing you do in this world is lead people astray. You know what I'm saying? They take your lessons and live their life storm, and everything that they do comes back to you.
Lupe has described the industry as a closed-off network, not just a group of executives, but a collection of elite handlers who decide what you hear and what you think and how you act. He famously said, "Why kill you when I can just not teach you and get the same results?" This is the heart of the system. By keeping the masses distracted with manufactured trends and low-frequency culture, the Vipers ensure that no one is looking at the bigger picture. In this interview, he didn't only talk about this organization, he warned about a nightmare scenario that nowadays feels like a pending reality. Calling out the path of destruction he felt civilization was on, led by a few elites, a path that he said would eventually lead to life in bunkers.
I think that it's interesting that this distraction that we're being told about, you have to look at media, news, what's on television, what movies are out there, and how much of this is actually distraction to take us away from what's actually happening in society. I think that we would be surprised to realize that much of what's out there is that distraction.
Thoughts about their New World Order and elites coming together in secret to consolidate power, just like the Bilderberg Group. Do you have an opinion on them?
I don't even think they come together in secret. Yes, deliberate, and it's in the public. I do think that there's certain parts of it that are in secret, simply because it's a private kind of situation. It's private individuals who hold private stake in certain parts of the world, and private stake in real estate, and private stake in their companies. So you'd expect things like that to be secret. I think it's a lot of the stuff that we silently allow to happen. I think that we're complicit. There's such a mass of people that are completely impoverished. There's a mass of people that are completely frustrated. There's a mass of people that are completely disillusioned. A mass of people that are completely uneducated about how the system works, about themselves. And it's going to reach a point, right? It's going to reach a breaking point. And when that breaking point happens, I don't want to be living in a bunker for 15 years, eating dry food and, and shooting at people to keep them away from my house.
This part of the interview resonated so deeply with me. Recently, I have been covering many movies and TV shows that nowadays feel more like documentaries than movies.
Yeah, think about that. Having to sit in a bunker because there's like a war or even a world war going on, having to protect yourself and your families. Interesting.
Think about it. Lupe warned about a shadowy group with a grand plan. While that might seem like a story as old as time, today, with those files, this is more accurate than ever. All the people who were revealed to have some kind of connection with the monster tells us this is bigger than just a few people. It's one big club, and we're not in it. When you see the names in those files linked to the same studios and the same operations, you realize the Vipers Elijah Wood talked about aren't just characters in a movie. They are the ones building the bunkers. They are the ones engineering the culture. And like Lupe said, their greatest weapon is keeping you in the dark while they enforce their plan.
There's a whole different society of people that are running this network that you, me, the common people, we have no idea what's going on.
But the more we look at these patterns, the more that big club starts to lose its power because their secrets are finally coming into the light. But Lupe wasn't the only artist that risked it all exposing the system. B.O.B. tried to do the same thing. B.O.B. went from a global superstar with radio hits to a man who basically sacrificed his mainstream status to warn us about the hidden power structures that operate in the music industry. In his music, he didn't just hint at these things. He ranted about the craft and the hidden symbols that are baked into every major music video and award show. He's been vocal about how you can't reach a certain level of fame in this business without joining the club. He describes a system where your talent is secondary to your loyalty to the group. He was warning us that the elite view artists as nothing more than assets to be programmed and discarded. B.O.B. claims that there is a specific clique of handlers who manage the imagery and the messaging of every A-list star to ensure they stay on script.
I feel like, you know, socially, you always have this like out of bounds or off limits area of discussion. And especially when you're an artist, you know what I'm saying, you have a lot more eyes on you. And, you know, I feel like nobody should be afraid to talk about something, especially if you just, you know what I'm saying, innocently trying to understand something. When I went to my label and sat down, and there was just this big dark cloud over the meeting. And they were just like, why did you say that? Like, why did you do that? Like the shame and utter disappointment really like could throw your career in the blender with that type of information. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's like they're literally programming us to behave a certain type of way. What do I do? All right, do this. Like, okay, all right, got it. Like,
They're basically saying that you're being told what you have to do. You're basically a puppet inside of the industry.
This isn't just about symbols on a dollar bill for him. He's talking about a real-world network of power that decides who gets the spotlight and who gets silenced. When he started calling out these exclusive cliques by name, the industry did exactly what he predicted. They tried to bury him. They stopped playing his music on the radio and started the narrative that he had lost it. But when you connect what B.O.B. said about the craft to what Elijah Wood said about the Vipers, you see the same pattern. It's a closed-off society that uses the music industry to maintain a grip on the culture. B.O.B. realized that the only way to truly be free was to walk away from the big club entirely, even if it meant losing the fame he worked so hard to get. Just like we saw from Rose McGowan. McGowan's warning carries a weight that most others don't because she's seen this from two different worlds. She actually grew up in a notorious religious cult called the Children of God. So when she got to Hollywood and started seeing the same patterns, the same groupthink, the same untouchable leaders.
Look who she's with right there. Harvey Weinstein.
And the same way they silence victims, she knew exactly what she was looking at. She has famously stated that Hollywood is built on sickness and operates exactly like a cult.
What is Hollywood like? It was filled with all of these rules that were never written down anywhere, but everyone knew the rules, and everyone passed these rules on to you. Female agents were big in my life, and they had definitely a hand in telling me the rules that I had to abide by, which is by definition a cult.
As kind of later maybe we'll get to what I did in Hollywood, stand up and say, this is not right, this is programming, this is against human nature, this is not, we're better than this, I don't agree with this. Instead of having a dialogue about it, you are cast out, you are scorned, you are shunned, you don't exist. You are effectively dead.
She describes a system where the Vipers Elijah Wood talked about aren't just rogue actors. They are the high priest of a sick, toxic system that demands total loyalty in exchange for fame. She's been vocal about how Hollywood operates like a mafia when it comes to protecting its own. It's the one big club we've been talking about. She warns us that what happens in the industry eventually happens to the rest of society because Hollywood is the propaganda machine that manufactures our dreams and our reality.
It's crazy because every single person inside of this video and all of the other videos I've been covering on the channel, everyone's saying the same stuff. People in Hollywood, upper echelon, the super rich are all doing the same thing to protect the entire system. There can't be this many people saying the same thing and have it not be true.
She wanted to get so far away from Hollywood that she moved to a different country, running from the industry and making Mexico her permanent place of residence. Rose didn't just blow the whistle on one man. She tried to blow the whistle on the entire machine. She realized that the boogeyman isn't some stranger in a mask. It's the people who oversee the stars you love. She sacrificed her career and her reputation to tell us that we are being programmed by a system that hates the very people it entertains.
This is a warning. Do not do it. Do not come at me. Do not come at us. Because yes, you are powerful men, but you're using traditional methods of shame. You have hacked me, you've stalked me, you've spied on me, you've stolen 125 pages of my book, assaulting me. No, absolutely not, I won't have it. And they should know that they are going to be empty suits in their coffins.
Wow.
She is the final warning that the
She's
Vipers
angry.
aren't just coming for the stars. They're coming for the mind of the entire world. These 5 celebrities, Rose McGowan, Elijah Wood, Corey Feldman, B.O.B., and Lupe Fiasco, they all try to tell us the same story from different angles. They warned us about the Vipers, the gatekeepers, the handlers, and the bunkers, and every single one of them paid the price for it.
And these are only 5 in a massive story of probably hundreds of people that have been speaking out about all the evil wrongdoing regarding the darker side of Hollywood, upper echelon and the rich, and the Epstein files. More of this to come, so please subscribe.